What's up, y'all? It's your girl Amanda, and we are back with the second episode of Mandy's Entertainment Reviews. So, I am, for this episode, doing the memoirs of Lisa Marie Presley. So, the actual title of this book is called Lisa Marie Presley From Here to the Great Unknown. I think the reason why she chose this, or, both Riley and Lisa Marie chose this book is because, honestly, the book was filled with a lot of twists and turns of Lisa Marie's life. And, with anything regarding to life, we don't know what's next. So, for example, you don't know what tomorrow may bring. It's the great unknown. So it's a good choice for that, now that I think about it. So the authors are Lisa Marie Presley and her daughter Riley. I don't want to mispronounce her name, so I'm just gonna call her Riley. Her last name, my brother told me it's Co, but then I keep hearing Keo. So I don't know the actual pronunciation. So if you guys know the actual pronunciation, put it in the comments. This video is on YouTube. So if you are on my YouTube, if you've seen my YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. So this book came out in October. It is November 1st. And so it's safely been out probably about 2 or 3 weeks. I actually finished this book in about a day. I didn't buy the hard copy. I actually bought the Kindle version because I do finish Kindle books quicker than I can a hard copy book. If I were to buy a hard copy book, it would probably take me weeks. But if I brought a Kindle version, it will probably be on my tablet or on my phone. And I could be just somewhere waiting and just look down at my phone and, read a few pages until I need to get back to what I need to be doing. So the publisher for this book was the Penguin Random House, a big publisher probably somewhere in New York City. And as you guys know, if you listen to the first episode with the Gary Coleman documentary, you know that I do my reviews in KLW. If you don't remember first grade, know, want to know, and learned. So I want to start with KLW. K goes first. What I know about Lisa Marie is that she is the daughter of Elvis and Priscilla Presley. She is the only child from that union. I actually found out later in life that Lisa Marie does have a half brother because Priscilla Presley had a longtime partner in the 80s and then they had a baby together. So, but she's the only child of her parents' marriage, and also as well as the only child of Elvis, which kind of surprises me because Elvis, when he wasn't married, he was kind of a ladies' man. And even before he got married in his early days, he was a ladies' man. And I'm sure he's had plenty women, if y'all know what I mean. And he didn't have any other kids. So that pretty much shocked me. Have I ever heard of Elvis having illegitimate children? I don't think so, but the internet is here for a reason, so I might have to do some research the next time I have some downtime because I really want to know, did he have any outside children? Did he have a son or anything? So I do think about that from time. Elvis did die in 1977, so she probably was about 9. She was born in the mid to late 60s, so she was probably 8 or 9 when he passed away, which is fairly young to lose a parent. She had a rocky relationship with her mother. So the book actually details her relationship with her mother. And I didn't really know about the details in the book until I read it, obviously. But the only reason how I knew that she had a rocky relationship with Priscilla, there's an old interview, and I think it's an Oprah interview, where Lisa Marie talked about how her and her mother would basically butt heads. And they did the interview together, so Priscilla was sitting right next to her. And she would talk about how, she would bump heads. She was kind of rebellious with Priscilla. How, they argue and get not to physical fights, but, they just didn't get along, basically. And she talked about that with Oprah. She had a crazy life with drugs. I knew when she was younger, she had an issue with drugs. And we'll get into, her older years, which I kind of didn't know, but it was kind of there as I saw it. Like the last few months of her life, I kind of saw it. But when she was younger, she does go into her, and I knew before as well, but she did go into her drug years as a young woman. She has 4 children, so she has a set of twins who are probably like 17, 16 by now. She's got her son, Ben, who passed away a couple years ago, and then she has Riley. She was married a numerous number of times. She married her first husband, Danny, then Michael Jackson, then Nicolas Cage, and then her last husband, Michael Lockwood. As you guys know, like I am obsessed with Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley's marriage because every time I saw a picture of them, they just look so cute. They took cute pictures. They was just cute. And then that interview with Diane Sawyer, that was cute too. So I've always been obsessed with them, and I always hated the fact that they did divorce, even though they divorced when I was like a baby and I probably knew nothing about them back in the day at that time because of course I was 1. But I just hate that they divorced because they just, it's just that couple that just looks so cute on photos, And I know she lived in London, not London, but she lived in England. She lived in the countryside. She had a beautiful, big old house on some acreage. I seen pictures of it on the Daily Mail. It looked like classic countryside England. It was like probably 10,000 square feet, I assume. She had like a garden and all that stuff. So I know she had that house there. She recorded some albums. Now, I know y'all probably looking around thinking, she recorded albums since when? I'm gonna be very honest with y'all, and I am a fan of Lisa Marie Presley. Her albums didn't really hit as popular as if it was like a Mariah Carey album or something. So it did well, but it's not like it didn't make a stamp on pop culture, if you will. And lastly, her ex-husband, Michael Lockwood, I remember probably about 5 years ago, it was a big, big story about how he was accused of having child pornography. The case was later cleared up. Nobody went to jail, so it was kind of swept under the rug. And obviously nobody talks about it now that Lisa Marie Presley is deceased and the girls are older, so I think they're doing their best to protect the younger, the twins. So we can move on to want to know. And the first thing I wanted to know was I wanted to know more details about the Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley marriage. Because I'm nosy, and I just think they were so cute on paper. That's all. I just want to be nosy because, Michael Jackson was an intensely private person, but he wasn't private, if you know what I mean. Like, I've heard quotes where Michael Jackson has asked people, like, I think he asked Big Boy, who does radio in LA, can you go to a grocery store and shop privately? Can you do this? Like, if Michael Jackson wanted to go to the mall, Michael Jackson had to have the mall shut down after hours. Imagine that, right? So say Michael Jackson wanted to shop at Woodfield Mall. And Woodfield Mall is the biggest, probably the second biggest behind Gurney Mills. And you want to shop at Woodfield Mall. They're going to have to shut down all like a jillion square feet just for him to shop, if you will. I also wanted to know about her later life. Now, I remember Lisa Marie Presley putting out an album between 2003 and 2005. And then after that, I didn't hear anything from her until Michael Jackson passed away in 2009. And then that's when she went on Oprah and she talked about Michael, and then she bought that house in England. And then after that, I kind of heard less and less about her until Benjamin, passed away, and then she passed away. So it was kind of gaps from what I heard from Lisa Marie. I wanted to know about her experience recording the album, especially Dirty Laundry, I like that song. I remember the video of it because you guys got to know Lisa Marie Presley is one of my style idols. Like her music is not very my thing, but her style, I just always was in awe of her style. Um, I wanted to know, did she have a relationship with the Jackson family after the marriage to Michael? The only reason why I wanted to know that is because I recently read The Jackson Family Values, which was written by Jermaine's ex common law wife. I think her name was Alejandra. Alejandra? The lady from LA who is the mother of his son Jordan and Jeremy. That woman. And she was basically talking to one of the Jackson brothers' ex-wives and said that once you're divorced from the Jacksons, like that door is closed. So I just wondered, did that also apply to Lisa Marie? And also, I wanted to be nosy and know if she had like a partner or a boyfriend before she passed away, or was she just single? So here are the things that I learned in the book. As I stated in the first episode, they may or may not answer my questions, and that's okay. It's just things that I learned. So the first thing that I learned, but I kind of knew, but it went into more detail about, was that Lisa Marie was still with Michael after they divorced. In the book, Riley did say that, even though they divorced in 96, they was still going to Neverland Ranch, even during the times that he was married to Debbie Rowe. That is so messy. That is so messy. But still, I think that was the love of his life, Lisa Marie. That was the love of his life. Of course, and I know that because if you still having her and her kids at Neverland Ranch after the fact that they were divorced, that is very telling. Also, in the book, Lisa Marie Presley did say that Michael did reach out to her, not on a good thing. He was high when he reached out to her, so I guess he still had some sort of access to her as well. Of course, when like you've been with someone for years, even the short amount of years that they've been together, there's always still access to that. If the relationship, well, no, let me not say that, because if it did end bad, then hell no, don't talk to nobody that like put much sadness on you. So scratch that last part. Let's see. I learned that I've heard, I heard, but it's not true. But this book really did confirm that Priscilla Presley was vain and selfish and not as nice of a person as she's made out to be. I read in the book that when she was pregnant with Lisa Marie, she didn't want to gain weight and, just basically treated Lisa like blah when she was pregnant with her. That's why I always say, like, Hollywood isn't everything now. Like, when I was younger, hell yeah, I wanted to break into Hollywood and be around the stars and stuff. And now that's like I'm reading the memoirs and what people are going through, and when people are really saying how people truly are, it's like, nah, I don't want to be around that. I'm good. I'll just like get 300 acres of land and just be isolated because heck no. The history of Graceland was also included in the book, which is great. All I know about Graceland is that Elvis lived there, he died there, and then a couple years later they opened it as a museum. But I think it was Riley that went over the history of who owned it before Elvis. Before I really started going into the history of Graceland, I just always thought Elvis built that from the ground up because of his popularity. And I assume, it's the 50s. He bought the house in the 50s. I just assumed like it cost him literally nothing to build the house with all the money he was getting. So but they did go into history. I think the first owners built it in like the 40s or early 50s, and they sold it to Elvis. Elvis never spoke ill of Priscilla, even though they were divorced. And that's what I really like. If a couple is divorced, the one parent will not speak ill of the other. That is true maturity, I always thought. Let's see. She had a bad relationship with her mother's family, which is, I think, so messed up. with her grandparents especially. I was like, dang, that's sad. Like, how can you, because y'all gotta understand, then when Elvis died in like 77, I think Elvis's mother died in like the 50s or 60s. Elvis's father died in the 80s, and then having like no relationship with Lisa or Priscilla's family, I think that's just so messed up. After Elvis died, Lisa Marie was not allowed in her room. Silly reasons. I think Priscilla had something to do with that, from what I remember. She joined Scientology with the influence of John Travolta at 10 years old. You heard how that came out of my mouth, right? You hear how weird that is, right? Another thing I learned, the HBO special with Michael Jackson. I don't know if you guys remember that. That was supposed to come out in like 1995. I didn't really learn about it until I was like 14, but Michael Jackson was supposed to do an HBO concert, and he got sick, or he had to go to rehab. So turns out he really didn't want to do the HBO special. And I get why, He wants to do big arenas and all that stuff, I guess. But no, it's a shock that he didn't want to do the HBO special. Well, he got what he wanted. He didn't do the HBO special, but in a way that, unfortunately, he had to go to rehab. And as I said, they were going to Neverland after the divorce. They owned a pub, Lisa Marie, and I think her husband, they owned a pub in London or England. Why do I keep saying London? England. They lived in the countryside of England. They had a pub in England. It was a party every day, I assumed, with the pubs. Because I was, like, my mom, she's really into English mysteries and stuff. And when I was reading that part when she was living in England, I always pictured, like, the way they lived on those mysteries that my mom watched in England, countryside, the towns are small and all that stuff, and the pubs are a party. So that was just my picture of it. She had an addiction to opioids and cocaine. So as I stated in the beginning of this episode, she had an issue with drugs as a young woman, but then it kind of, in a way, spun the block to her as an adult in her 40s. And again, I kind of saw it like the last few months of seeing her in her life, that there was some sort of drug addiction there. But also, lastly, which is the saddest part of the book, Riley was told that her mother died on a plane. So in a nutshell, Lisa Marie and her first husband, Danny, they were living on the same property. I think Danny has some sort of like guest house, or he lived in the basement or something. And he was there for her when she passed away. She actually died of, like, I think bowel obstruction, or she had like some sort of complication from a surgery she had. So yeah, that's what took her out. So I do, when it comes to the Mandy stars, I do give it a 4 out of 5. I got to know more about Lisa Marie Presley, how she grew up. I learned more of her time, like, after her father passed away, growing up in Beverly Hills with her mother. For years, I always heard, okay, she moved to LA with her mom, and then they fast forward to her having her first 2 kids, and then fast forward to her marrying Michael Jackson. So most of this Lisa Marie story I've heard was like, okay, this happened, fast forward, okay, this happened, fast forward, okay, this happened. But no, she actually got a chance to really tell her story of her moving to LA with her mom, her missing Memphis, how she met her first husband, how they lived. They weren't the richest when they first got married, but then as time went on, she started, I guess, getting money, and they got better houses and all that stuff. But so basically, reading this book, it did fill in those spaces for me. The good thing is that she got to collaborate with her daughter. I know some people who write memoirs, they work with authors who they don't know too well, and then they end up getting to know over the time. But, you know, when it's your family member, it would be a more comfortable position, and, you know, think more things can come out, and, you know, some things that weren't comfortable to talk about or sad to talk about is discussed more in confidence if it's your family member, especially a family member you trust. So I would assume she trusted Riley. Riley actually got an opportunity to express her feelings of how it felt to work on the book with her mother. She explained how she was listening to tapes of her mother's voice, and this was after Lisa Marie passed away. So she got to express how she felt of working on the book and all that stuff. The only thing I didn't like was that it was, again, I'm obsessed with the Michael Jackson marriage, that her marriage with Michael was touched on. It wasn't like, well, it was a chapter, but to me, like, I must have read it too fast. I just felt like it was touched on, like, okay, thing, done. Like, you know, I wanted more detail, but I learned that, you know, they lived together. They were like a normal married couple, and then that was that. But yeah, 4 out of 5 Mandy stars. I did enjoy the book. And that is the end of my review for Lisa Marie Presleys From Here to the Great Unknown. This episode is on your favorite streaming platforms, and also if you are listening on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. And until the next time, which is the next episode, I will be doing Pharrell, the Piece by Piece movie. So expect that episode along with this one, and I hope y'all enjoy the episode. Peace.